Hey, it's Jen Mack, Lady of the Mind. Welcome to Life Mastery Decoded, where I help you decode the struggles in your life in the areas of health, wealth, relationships, and spirituality with mind mastery, emotional management, and meditation. Welcome to today's podcast. Did you know that some 4,000 years ago, New Year's resolutions were linked to the ancient Babylonians, who it was said that these were the first people to begin New Year's resolutions. And the new year did not start in January, but in mid-March, when crops were being planted. That they were said to, in gratitude of the crops being planted, they would say to the gods, if you give us a good crop, I will do this. It was like a sacrifice that they would be willing to make. I'm willing to make this specific sacrifice if we get a good crop this year. Let's look at New Year's resolutions as a time of gratitude. What are you grateful for? We spend so many times, so many hours thinking about the things that we want and change and the things that we want to have in our life and the improvements in the areas. But do you think about gratitude? I started what I call a gratitude box probably 3 years ago now. And it's really, really a fun tool to do throughout the year. So I have this really cool box. I love cigars. So I have a couple of different cigar boxes. And it's possible that you know that I've done some wood burning. So this wooden, it's a real small wooden cigar box. And I've done some wood burning on it. And it's my gratitude box. And what I do is I cut up like scrap pieces of paper, a different color for every year. So this 2021 was pink. The time before that was light blue. The time before that was light green. And I cut them up and they look like the size of a business card, maybe a little bit bigger. And I put one of those big binder clips on them and then I put a pen in there. And then as things go on throughout the year, whether I have a really fun day with the kids, you know, Amy and I do something really fun, I get landed a really cool speech somewhere in the United States, we get a bunch of, we have a lot of fun at one of the expos, whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the thing is. Anyway, then I take this pad of paper, the scrap paper, out of the box, and I just write on there. I'm just so grateful that we had such a beautiful hike to Lake Michigan today with the boys. It was sunny and 72 and we saw a hawk. And that's it. And I'll put, January 2022 on there. Okay. And then I fold that up and I put it loosely in the box. The end of the year, on New Year's, I take this box and during our New Year celebration, whether we're watching the ball drop or we're hanging out with friends or whatever we're doing, throughout the evening, I take all of these folded up pieces of paper and I read them out loud. And I just remember what the thing was that I wrote down. So at the end of the year, I find, I read, oh yeah, remember when we went to Lake Michigan, we saw that hawk and he was only like 15 feet from us high up in this tree. It was really cool. Do you remember what Cameron said? And we just kind of reminisce about the year. I love doing that because it reminds me of all of the things that we did throughout the year. It reminds me of all of the things to feel grateful for. And they're just little pieces of joy and reminiscing. And then I keep those. I put them in a bag. I put them like in a Ziploc bag. And I take a bigger piece of paper with a big marker and within the bag, but readable from the bag, I write the year. And I remember to do this. I leave the box out so I can see it. And I remember and remind myself to do this because I see it often and I'm like, oh yeah, or something will happen and I'll remember to write it down and put it in there. And then by the end of the year, I have lots and lots of these folded up pieces of paper, these little notes, these little pieces of gratitude, these little events that happen throughout the year. Wouldn't it be great to have 365 of them? Gratitude is the highest vibration on the scale and frequency of energy. Gratitude, more so than love. What are the things that you're grateful for? You write those things down, put them in a box, and think about these people, the 4,000 years ago said, We want to have a great crop. I mean, this was about surviving and thriving. I don't want to just have a little bit of food. I want to have a plentiful amount of food, an abundance of food. And not because I want to eat all of this food and be greedy or barbaric. I just want to make sure that anytime I'm hungry, there's food around. And it's a survival, right? Well, these Babylonians were no different. They wanted the crop to be plentiful, not just minimal. And then they said, I will sacrifice something. I will give up smoking. I will lose weight. I will be nicer to my kids. I will do something. You have my word. I will sacrifice something. And New Year's resolutions often come with that kind of a price, that we feel like we have to sacrifice something. But I'm saying, let's kind of flip it around on its head. If you were to make change in your life that then you would give all kinds of gratitude for, what would that change be? If we could wave a magic wand and you all of a sudden this year in your business made $100,000, you'd feel so grateful. What would be the sacrifice? Maybe we don't make a sacrifice, but what would you be grateful for? If I could wave a magic wand and you just immediately lose 50 pounds, what would the gratitude, what would it give you that you would be so grateful for? Why is it that you want the thing? And we stand back, and instead of it being this sacrificial, like I'm going to go on this 6-month diet, or I'm going to give up this money, or I'm going to give up this time to have this thing. Most of the time, our New Year's resolutions don't come true because we don't want to make a sacrifice. But look at it on the other side. What would you be grateful for if you could have it? And if you look at it that way, it becomes this positive energy-filled desire then instead of a negative-filled desire. When I had these women in my boot camp class and they would say, I really just want to lose weight. I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to lose 50 pounds. And I said, why do you want to lose it? They're like, well, just because I want to. Why though? Well, because I want to get in those jeans, or I want to, feel confident, or I want to feel sexy. And I said, instead of focusing on losing weight, because that has a negative feeling, doesn't it? I have to lose weight, right? Instead of focusing on losing weight, maybe you should focus on why you want it. Feeling the feeling of what it would be like if you already had it. And then being grateful for having the thought of it. Because on a different timeline, you already have it. If you can imagine it, you can have it. If you can conceive it and believe it, you can have it. And we just have to believe that we are goddesses of creation, that we have the ability to create our lives in such a way that we will feel the highest vibration, which is gratitude. We have the ability to lose the weight, get the relationship, have the career, have the spiritual connection, and then be so grateful the way our life has turned out. You have to know that you have the ability to create that there's no way that our lives are so minimal that we're just on this physical planet, we just go through this physical thing, and no matter where you are in the world, this is just the hand you've been dealt, and this is the hand that you get. Maybe if you're lucky, you could be a rock star or an actress or a physicist, and you can have all this money. But otherwise, you're just this. No. You have the ability to create the life that would give you the ultimate amount of gratitude. I think of when we do favors for people. The Babylonians are like, if I give you corn and you give me wheat and we can do this thing, we have to make the sacrifices. Like, let's come together in union with the energy that creates worlds. You look up at the stars at night and you know that there's a star out there, there's a galaxy out there, there's planets out there that we have not even explored. The universe goes on and on and on for this infinite amount of time. We're just one little speck of dust in the galaxy that is so huge that our minds can't even fathom it. How could you possibly think that we don't have the ability to create our lives in the way that we want to? Have you heard of the James Webb Telescope that was just launched a couple of weeks ago, or a week ago, I guess? And it is going out, and it is going out millions of miles to look for life out of these galaxies, looking for planets that can sustain life. What? What? And don't think for a second that we do not have some ability to create. So think about that. Start right there. Start at that point. Welcome to the new year. Welcome to the new year and the new you. What is your declaration? What are you going to go out there and say that creates change, that creates momentum, that creates a difference, that really moves the needle, that really changes how your life starts to unfold? The body can heal itself. We have the ability to create matter out of thin air. How do you think things get created? Out of energy. We put emotion to it. We put energy to it. We flow energy to the thing that we want to create. Think of the things that you would be grateful for, that you would write down and put in your gratitude box. What would you do? What would you put in there? Name 5 things right now that you could just change, that would just level your life up so quickly and so immensely. Write those 5 things down and then make a declaration about it. I declare that I'm going to lose 50 pounds. I declare that I'm going to make $50,000 extra this year. I declare that I'm going to travel to 7 places in the United States this year. Whatever it is, make it as a declaration. Make it as an intention. And then keep those things in mind. Keep those things there with dates next to them as you flow energy to them. And as the thing starts to become real, then I want you to go to your gratitude box and write them down and put them in the box. And then at the end of 2022, then you get to read them. On New Year's Eve, you get to sit among friends and family and you get to read these things that you created in your world, in your physical experience. You were able to create. It's an amazing thing. But we get caught up and we get distracted. We get caught up in this mundane day-to-day tasks. And we just have to stand here and look around and say, what can I do differently that just kind of shakes up my mind a little bit so I can see things differently? Because I want to see things differently. Because if I see things differently, I do things differently. And if I do things differently, then my life changes. My thoughts change, my feelings change, and the physical experience that happens in my life changes. So what will you change? I don't want to say, what are you willing to sacrifice? Because we all have to put our energy towards things or things become really stagnant. And I'm sure there's an area of your life that is very stagnant. And it happens. Our minds want to get into that relaxed position. And then you notice that if it's in that relaxed position that your mind starts creating problems. It starts creating chaos. Take a relationship that you've been in for a really long time and it's going pretty well. It's going pretty even keeled and it's smooth sailing. Then all of a sudden you do something stupid just to shake things up. You're trying to create some excitement, but you don't have to create excitement like that. That creates chaos in the relationship. You can do it in other ways. You can make changes. You can look at things and say, what else can I change? It's about being present. It's about waking up to your life. It's about looking at your life differently, looking at a different angle and going, what can I change? Can I drive to work a different way to kind of wake up my mind? It brings us joy and life and love and happiness and gratitude, and it changes our life. You want more adventure? What is adventure to you? You want more love? What is love to you? What would fill that bucket? What would that look like? Now declare you're going to do more of that this year. Now it's not a sacrifice. Now it's not a sacrifice. Now it's a, what am I going towards? Now it's momentum. Now it's this beautiful thing that you call life. You get to look back on your life and you get to say, I created that. Now you may not have all of that it takes. Maybe don't create all of the details of it, but the end order is pretty much what you are the end result is pretty much what you established. But the way you got there, or the people you met, or some of those little minute details in between are not for you to do. That is for the universe. You say, I want to make $100,000 this year, and you flow energy to it, and it's believable, and you don't have beliefs that are limiting you. And the universe goes, okay, but don't limit me. Let me show you how you can make $100,000, because I have a million different ways to bring $100,000 into your life. You can only think of a few, maybe two, maybe three. I can think of a million, so don't limit me. So don't do the same thing. So as you make this declaration, as you decide how you want your life to change, how you want things to shift, then I want you to think about how you can declare what it is that you want. Think of the thing and then think of the emotions behind it. I want it because it's going to make me more confident. What will give you confidence right now? And then be grateful that, you know what, I can feel confident. It might not be in this area yet, but I can feel confident in this area. Okay, do that. Do that more. Feel gratitude for your ability to use your mind to propel yourself forward and visualize and picture things that create this beautiful emotional response in your body. Because that is what we're after. We want this thing because we think it will feel better once we have it, right? Well, I'm telling you, propel your mind forward and you can already have it, because it's the emotional response that we're after. So I'm challenging you right now to go there and to think of that. What would make me so grateful this year? In what area of my life would I just look back on and at the end of 2022 and go, I am so grateful for these experiences. And then what are those experiences? Write those experiences down, put a date next to them, make a declaration out of them, and enjoy 2022. Happy New Year. If you liked this episode and look forward to future episodes, please consider making a small monthly donation to help support this podcast. If you are looking for a community to join and have more access to me, then consider one of the following platforms. Chakras for Beginners is an energy-based community that is highly active and growing every day. Lady Rising is a sistership community where the focus is on spiritual support and connection. We hold monthly calls and talk about topics such as today's episode. We also have an online store where you can meet your meditation and chakra needs with products for your journey. You can visit us at www.themeditationroomtc.com. Thank you for joining me and being a valued listener.